Hey everybody, I'm back in the kitchen. I want to welcome you here. I'm glad to be here. We're going to have some fun today because it is the day after Thanksgiving. And that means that it's crazy in most places in the world because it's Black Friday. Now, I don't play that. I don't have a need for nothing that badly to make me want to leave this house on Black Friday. So I stay home. And today's a good day to do video because while the world's going crazy, I can just do my crazy here in my own kitchen. And so that makes me happy. Now listen, we're going to be doing something that is wonderfully easy and it's delicious. And it's kind of associated in the South with Christmas. We're going to make cheese straws. Now, if you go to a party, you're bound to see cheese straws on the appetizer buffet. Or if you get a little gift basket, it might have a little box or a little bag of cheese straws that somebody made. If you've only ever had cheese straws that came processed in a box, bless your heart, because, well, you're just not getting a good cheese straw. Cheese straws are so easy, y'all. It's just a handful of ingredients, and we're going to put these together lickety-split. Now, listen, my niece, Malia, I'm doing this video in her honor because, she tells me she doesn't have a clue and that she doesn't use her kitchen appliances very often. Now, I don't believe her. I don't believe her abilities are subpar. I think she's going to be fine. So, Malia, gather up your ingredients, and we're going to do this together, all right? Now, before I get started, I got to just jump in one thing because it made me laugh. I almost peed my pants. Listen, the other night, I was sitting on the couch, and I got an announcement saying that I had a comment on my video. Well, it happened to be the video that I did with Mama when we were doing turkey and dressing, gravy, whatever. Yeah, it was dressing. Well, I got excited because I don't get very many comments on my videos. Y'all watch them and then you don't ever say anything. Well, somebody said something and I got excited. And I was sitting on the couch and I said, "Oh, Brad, I got a comment." And so I flipped over there right quick and I looked. Well, some feller made the following comment to me. He said, "It looks like a good recipe, but the younger woman talks too much, and it makes it hard to learn." Y'all, I didn't know what to say. I just laughed. I laughed and laughed because, well, I mean, I do chatter and I can't help it, but it's my own cooking channel, y'all, and he basically told me to hush. Well, if I could figure out how to teach you how to cook something without talking so much, I would give it a whirl, I suppose, but it's just not my nature. So I doubt he subscribed to my channel, and, that's fine, because there's somebody out there for him. I'm satisfied, and hopefully there's more folks for me. So we'll just leave it at that. Anyway, cheese straws. Cheese straws are great, y'all, because it starts with a good base, and when you start with a good base, you can play off of it and add different elements to make it a different type of cheese straw. I'm going to make just straight up, just easy ones first because, well, that's what everybody wants, right? Right. So I'm going to put my handy dandy mixer on. Now listen, you don't have to use a stand mixer if you don't want to. But there's a lot of mixing involved. And we're not using liquid. We're only using softened butter as our kind of liquid in here. And so you can use your arm in I guess you probably have to use a wooden spatula or something to put this together, but you're going to feel it in the morning because you're going to have sore arms. So if at all possible, get you a stand mixer. And we're going in with 2 sticks of butter. You can use salted or unsalted. I only buy salted butter because that's just how I roll. I'm not concerned about the salt because I add more salt anyway. So, hello, I like salt profile in butter, so I keep it there. Anyway, I have got my butter in my mixer. Now, the other ingredient that I'm going to talk to you about in just a second is my bacon mix. Some people want to use self-rising flour in their cheese straws, and that's fine. Self-rising flour works. It's already got your leavening agent in it. It's got your salt in it. I like to use this bacon mix. Now you can use Bisquick, you can use a store brand baking mix. This one just happens to be Pioneer brand since 1851. Anyway, it's a good mix. I like it because it has buttermilk added. It also has the leavening agents already added. It has some salt in it, but I always want to add a little bit more salt because it's just never quite enough for my palate. But you're going to need Bisquick or something if you want it to have a little buttermilk tang to it. And that's what I like. If you don't really want that, well then by all means just use self-rising flour. I want you to use what you've got in the house. I don't want you to make a special trip to the grocery store because it's just overkill and you don't need to do it. So there. Alright, we're going to get cheese. Now you see this big old bunch of cheese I've got? I bought Colby Jack and I bought extra sharp cheddar. Cheddar cheese is hard to beat when you're making a southern cheese straw. It's just got that right bold flavor that you want in cheese straw. And, well, you can't go wrong with it. So I'm using extra sharp. It's not going to make your jaws lock, and it's not going to... It's just good. Trust me, I promise. I don't like to eat sharp cheddar cheese, just sitting around eating cheese. But for these cheese straws, I do like sharp cheddar. So pick your battles, people. Pick your battles. It's recipe for this 1 cup of butter. We're going in with about 2.5 cups of cheese that I have previously shredded. So let me get my measuring cup here. This on the top is mostly the cheddar. Let me dig down and get a little bit of that Colby Jack. There we go. So that looks about like 2 cups. Plop it in. And we'll go in for another little bit for a 1/2 cup. It is not exact. You see what I'm doing? I'm guesstimating and I'm not pushing stuff down. You're not going to mess it up. So quit worrying about your method. You're going to be fine. It's going to be delicious. I'm going to scrape this up just a little bit. Throw it in there. So generally when you're mixing a cake together, well, you're going to cream your butter and your sugar together first before you start adding other ingredients. That's what we're going to do here, is we're going to cream the butter and the cheese together, just to get it good and mixed up. We want it to bind together. So here we go. Put it in my handy dandy mixer. I'm just going to go to town with it here for a few minutes, mixing it up. Now the cheese is not going to break down into a liquid. It's pretty much just going to stay little pieces of cheese in there, but you still want to cream it for just a minute or so, so just hang on. Okay, so I have creamed this butter together with this cheese, and let me show you the consistency. See that? It's just nice and soft, and you can spread it, so that's what we want. That's what we're looking for. Get it off my finger, not that. Now we're going to add our dry ingredient, which is the bacon mix. We're also going to add any seasonings that we might be interested in adding at this point. I'm going in with my bacon mix first. So, open her up. Just open the bag. I want, for this 2 cups of cheese to the cup of butter, I want about, well, let's look and see what 2 cups looks like. Because I kind of know the consistency that I'm going for this. So we'll start with 2 cups. And I'm going to go ahead and put my seasonings in. Now listen, a straight up classic application for cheese straws has nothing more than cayenne pepper in it and maybe a little salt. If that's what you want to make, then that's fine, because it's going to be delicious. That's just a classic taste for a cheese straw. It's that butter, it's the cheese, it's that cayenne pepper with a little salt base, and it's delicious. But you know I can't be that way. You know I have to do something different. And so I just do my own thing. And so I will list in my recipe the straightforward way, and then I will show you, I will give you some additions that you can change up if you want to make them a little different. So, because it's all about choices. It's all about doing what you want to do. I like to use this. It's an all-purpose Greek seasoning. It just smells good. I don't really associate the scent or the taste for that matter with anything that might be considered Greek. I mean, the Greek profile is just a lovely Mediterranean type flavor profile that is wonderful. But I just like this because it already has some herbs in it, and it's got black pepper, it's got salt, it's got garlic and onion already in it. So it just keeps me from having to add everything different when I can just add it in one fell swoop and be done. Plus, it's got all kinds of other yummy things that I like. So I'm just going to pour some in this so that I can see what I'm getting and use my trusty spoon. I'm going in with half a cup of my Cavender's all-purpose Greek seasoning. And I'm just going to dump it in just like that. I am going in with a 1/4 teaspoon of ground mustard. The Cavender's does not have mustard in it. So I'm going in with a little bit of this. Now this is also a classic flavor in a cheese straw. I never leave it out. I like this. Even if I'm making plain ones with just cayenne as the base, I always put dry mustard in. Of course I do. Here's your cayenne. When you make them at home, you can pick the heat degree that you're going to burn folks up with. I don't like a lot of heat. I mean, I'm sassy enough. I don't need to be sassy and spicy. So, for my cheese straws, I'm going to go in with a heaping 1/4 teaspoon. So, and that'll be enough to give it a zing, but not blow your hair off. Because who wants that? Now we're just going to turn this sucker back on. Pull it all together. And it comes together pretty fast. We're just trying to get that dry ingredient into that emulsified butter and cheese mixture. And it goes through the gravel stage when you're mixing it up. You'll be like, well, it's never going to come together. It's just all crumbly. Don't rush it. It takes as long as it takes. In the meantime, you can preheat your oven. I've got mine up on 375 because you're going to want it preheated. But there's not a rush because this has to rest for a few minutes in the refrigerator. Okay, I am looking at this and it looks good. I just think that it needs just a little bit more of the bacon mix in there because it's a little too tacky. That just means it's got more water in it or more moisture in it than I want right now. So I'm going to add more of the bacon mix. So I might go in with a 1/2 cup maybe. And if I go in with more than 1/2 cup, it ain't gonna hurt nothing. They might be a little dry, but come on out, devil. There we go. So we'll go in with that 1/2 cup. See what that does. I think that'll make a big difference. And you can turn it up a little bit. And it's come together just lovely. There's a little bit of dry crumble in the bottom of the pan, or the bowl, I should say. So I just turned it up a little bit to get it all incorporated, and that's pretty much a done deal. So here we go. I'm going to take it off of this, and I will show you what we're left with. It's a very thick dough. Now, it's not like bread dough, where it's going to be stretchy. This is just a thick, well, it's kind of sticky. It's stodgy. If we were in England, we would say, this is a stodgy dough. Anyway, just pick off stuff and you can taste it if you want to. Tastes pretty good. Oh, it's just right on the salt. That's good. I didn't add any extra salt. My Cavender's has the salt in it, so that's good. Now I'm going to just pull this down on the sides, and I will show you what we're dealing with. Boom. There she blows. Now, it has come together nicely. It's wonderful. It's going to be perfect, y'all. I'm excited. Now, I am going to grab me a piece of plastic wrap from down below. And I am going to put this dough on my plastic wrap. Right in the center. And I'm going to cover it up and put him in the refrigerator because this needs to rest just a little while. That'll just allow the flour proteins to get used to the idea of being moist and being encompassed by the cheese and the butter. So we've got this nice disc, and you can kind of flatten it out like that. And we're going to put that in the refrigerator, and it's going to sit for 15 minutes, and then we'll be right back. Okie dokie. This stuff has sat in the refrigerator for about 15 minutes. It has set up nicely. It is still a little tacky to the touch, but it is nice and cold. So I'm going to put my plastic here. I'm just going to kind of break it in two pieces. It's always easier to work when you got something that's a little bit smaller. I have sprinkled some of my bacon mix on my little counter here. And I'm just going to roll this out till it's kind of thin. And then I'll show you what I'm going to do. Now, a lot of people have those fancy schmancy cookie extruders. I don't have one. And quite frankly, I'm not ever going to have one because I have seen them in action and I just think that they're a pain in the butt. And I've got enough of that in my life that I don't need that. And so I'm just not going to subject myself to having to fight with that contraption. So I take a pretty easy approach to cheese straws. If I want them to be straws, traditional shaped like a cheese straw. Granted, mine won't have the fluted edges like what you're used to seeing on a typical cheese straw. But they eat the same. So what's the point? I mean, hello. This is what I use. Ta-da! Pizza cutter. Seriously. I can just trim up these edges just so I'll have a flush side. Pull that away. Do the same down here. Just so we don't have wonky sides. And then I can make this as thin or as thick as I want. I can make them as wide as I want, as long as I want. You have free range here. It is your cheese straw, so you get to do what you want to do. Now, I know a lot of people have a hard time making decisions, and they want a recipe to just tell them what to do. Well, you're not a child, and you can figure this out. I want you to figure out what you like. That's the whole point, y'all. Do what you want to do. Golly. Anyway, I'm going at it. I'm going to show you how easy it is. I'm just going to start and make a few cuts. Let me get rid of that. All right, here goes. Now, I'm not very precise, and I don't have a ruler out here to measure my progress. You know why? Because you don't have to do it that way. These are going to bake up and be so stinking delicious that nobody's really going to care what they look like anyway. I mean, for real. So, I have got some pans already set up. It's just a baking sheet. And I've got my parchment paper here. So, I'm going to set this down. I'll move this stuff around so I have some room to work. Put my lovely block of cheese back here. And then, I am going to cut these in half. Just because it makes it a little easier to handle. And that's a pretty big one. Might want to scale that one down a little bit. And then you just add them to your baking sheet. And you can go at it with your little spatula if you want to. If you feel like you are going to break one, then by all means, use a spatula. But you're going to be fine. I promise y'all. And you can bag these up and give them as presents to school teachers or to your Sunday school class or your mailman. Whoever is in your life that you want to give a homemade gift to, they would like to get these. Now let me show you something else. Let me wipe my finger off here because I want to show you something. You don't just have to do straight up straws. Look, here's an elephant cookie cutter. I'm gonna haven't you always wanted a cheese elephant? Seriously? Put a little powder on him and this. I'm gonna cut out an elephant. Look. He's awesome. And I'm going to pop him out of my little thing and I'm going to stick him on my tray. Can you imagine doing a whole bunch of farm animals or a whole bunch of jungle animals or just animals in general? Here's a duck. Haven't you always wanted a cheese duck? Anyway, my point is this. You don't have to be tied down by convention. There are lots of different ways to make things work. If you wanted to get a little fancy with this, you could spray it with water. You could sprinkle on an herb of your favorite choice. You could sprinkle on sesame seeds. You could sprinkle on crushed up sunflower seeds. You could do a whole plethora of things, y'all. But this is just the base. This is just where we're starting from. So these are going in the oven. I'm going to check them at 10 minutes. They might be done by then, so here we go. 375. Timer. Start. I'll be back. Y'all, the buzzer's about to go off. It smells ridiculous in here. It is nothing but cheesy, buttery, yummy goodness up in here. Let's take a look, see what we got. Oh, look at that. I'm thrilled. Look. Oh. Y'all, I forget how great these are. I haven't made these since last year. I made these for some classmates last year. Sylvia, hello. Jacqueline, if you're watching this, y'all should be here, ladies. Y'all, these cheese straws are addictive. I can't say enough about them. Look, I'm not going to mess with these. These just came out of the oven, so they're not set up quite enough to handle. But this plate, I got these out earlier. Those little shapes, a couple of hints. The smaller you cut, if you use little tiny cookie cutters, they're going to get done a lot quicker. So keep an eye on them because you don't want to burn them. But did you hear that crunch? It's nothing but crunch. It's so wonderful. That cheese and that butter. Shut up. It's ridiculous. Now, this great big one, see, he was one that, well, I cut him a little too wide, and he also cooked in the middle of the pan, so he didn't get a whole lot of color on him, but he's still semi-crispy. I mean, yeah, he's a little crispy. He's not crunchy, but he's crisp. This sucker cooked on the edge of the pan. He's crunchy, and he is perfect. This is my idea of the perfect cheese straw. Heck yeah. Now, I like this too. I gave Brad one of these. It's a little cheese disc. Just a round cookie cutter. It is perfect. Look at the bottom. I love everything about these. You're going to love everything about them too, I promise, because they're easy to make. They're not that expensive to make. Makes a whole bunch of them. Bag these suckers up and give them as presents, and people are going to love you. You're welcome. I'm telling y'all. Anyway, come see me at jamieteachmetocook.com. That's where you're going to find the recipe. It's going to be in a Word format. It's going to be at the very bottom of the page. I will post the link in the YouTube video description box, so just come looking for it. I hope to see you over at jamieteachmetocook.com. Just come read my blog. I got all kinds of cool stuff on there. Also, come see me at Facebook at Jamie Teach Me to Cook. That would make me happy. I'd love to have new folks follow me. I love my old folks too. So my channel is growing. I am so thankful for each and every one of you. You have made my day. With yesterday being Thanksgiving, I truly had many blessings to count, and I do count you among those blessings. So thank you. I look forward to bringing you all kinds of goodies through this holiday season. So I'm not sure what next week's going to bring, but it might involve cheese because this is stinking good. Anyway, I love y'all, and I'll see you soon. Bye.